However, as much as I loved Undertale, this game has topped it in every single way.
One of the best indie RPGs ever.
Omori is an absolute masterpiece.
After I finished the game, I just kinda sat there thinking, this is a masterpiece, 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 masterpiece.
What the f is this piece of sh?
The date was 17th of August of 2022. I was sick, I didn't feel good, and I had a lot of phlegm. So I said to myself, hey, what if I do something to feel even worse with myself? Something that I thought I was never going to do. And that's the story on how I played Omori. Now the thing you need to know about story-based JRPG fans is that they tend to skip the gameplay part when talking about how good the games are. Calling a game good by its story is like calling a book good by its font. It doesn't really make sense. So when I hear people calling an RPG Maker game about depression a masterpiece, I can't do anything but raise an eyebrow. Let me clarify that story-driven games can be very good games, but for them to be good, they need to have at least somewhat decent gameplay, and of course, a good story. This game has none. In Omori you play as a young boy named John in real life and as John Omori in the dream world. But isn't he named Sunny? Not in my canon, I can tell you that. Everything is going great in Headspace until the flower guy gets kidnapped and immediately gets saved. But hold on to something, because after that, Flower Boy, also known as Baseline, sees a picture in his album that wasn't supposed to be there. Then he proceeds to get dragged to hell where he belongs. Spooky scene, yada yada yada, gets stabbed, epic gamer moment, now the game actually starts. What do you think this RPG Maker game gameplay is going to be? You guessed it, turn-based combat. To be fair, I don't really play a lot of RPGs, but all of the ones I have played have simple yet satisfying gameplay. I went through this whole ass game with little to no deaths and I still don't know what I did. If you're having trouble going through the game, let me give you some epic gamer advices. Make John sad, Aubergine angry, and the other ones happy. If you do this, you will basically beat every enemy and every boss. It's hard talking about Omori's combat, not because it's complicated, but because there's nothing interesting about it. I am actually struggling to find words to describe it aside from it's there. Every encounter, every enemy, and every boss was pretty much the same. There's nothing that makes an enemy different from another one aside from one hitting harder. Actually, hold on a second. Okay, I replayed the entire game. I am not joking. In part because the footage got corrupted. Did my opinion change? No. I don't know how they managed to do it, but they somehow made the healer of the team kinda useless. He's for some reason the slowest character in the entire crew. He can lower enemies' damage, but as a healer, you're better by using kill plus the actual one. You might be wondering, why the hell will you make a character sad? Well, the main gimmick of these games are emotion statuses. When you have one of these, you get a buff and a debuff. For example, make your character angry so it does more damage by sacrificing defense. I'm not gonna lie, it's a neat concept, the problem is that it was implemented incredibly badly. Each one of your members has a status that is going to be the best option no matter the situation. There's no point in making John anything but sad or Aubrey anything but angry. You can also apply status effects to bosses, but that could have been interesting, so the devs decided to make each and every one of them immune after a certain part of the fight. Also, they constantly apply emotion statuses as well, so good luck trying to develop an original strategy. But what about normal enemies? I still haven't met a single human being that actually uses status effects on normal enemies in turn-based RPGs. The only enemy in which is worth using the emotion status is on the rare burst, which rare my ass, you have to fight like 10 of them without dying to get an awful reward. However, the bear is the only enemy in which using an emotion status is pretty much required if you want to win, and even though the bear is kinda broken, it was the most fun I had in the game. We have the grass area. I never thought I would dislike a grass area, but here we are. We also have a space junk area where I recommend you to finish the battles as quickly as you possibly can. So just hear the first part of the soundtrack, which is actually really good, and not the abomination that is the second part. The weather area is a little bit too much inspired by Mother 3, not going to spoil M3, but if you play the game then you probably know what I'm talking about. The rich desert when you can sacrifice a mole to the bread god so you can fight bread-like creatures, and finally, a forest with a generic ass looking castle at the end. You also have the real world in which you thankfully fight like 2 or 3 times, but shamefully you have to go through a lot of text. This wouldn't be a problem if the text was actually entertaining, but oof, it's rough alright. We now have to talk about the story. You know the thing that made this game gain such a big amount of fans and fame? This truly gotta be one of the best stories told through a video game, right? Right? So there is this place called Headspace, where everything is fantastic and laws of physics don't apply. And also you have the real world, where you have to go to work and pay taxes. You can clearly see why John will prefer staying in the dream world. The game tells you that he stayed 4 years inside his house. They don't specify if he went to school or if he ever received sunlight. John decides to live in his little bubble because his real life is a little bit messed up. Her sister died, which made all of his friends stop being friends. One of them became a bully, the other one became depressed just like John, and the other ones didn't really change that much. The event that changes John's daily routine of sleeping is the sound of someone knocking. He opens the door and sees her sister revived by the 8 magic crystals. She appears and tells John that they need to stop Shadow Basil from destroying society. Nah, just kidding, it's just Gil. He says that John is moving away in 3 days, so he knocks on his door to say goodbye. Then they meet Pink Hair Girl and see that she took something from Vaseline. Disgusted by this type of behavior, John and Ketamine engage in a battle against the Pranos girl. But she had no chance because John straight up knifed her. Okay, sure, having a bat with nails is very different to having a knife. Then they found Aubrey in the church. Long story short, Aubrey throws the album photo, the thing that she took from Basil, into the garbage, making John able to get Sedambul back. Everything is epic and pretty until Kale tells Brazil that John is moving to another city, to which Basil gets shocked even though he has to have a conversation with John in 4 years. Also, he got thrown into a lake and almost drowned. I think it's worth mentioning that. I don't feel like telling all of it, so I'm just going to skip to the important parts. Kel, Hero, Aubrey, and John go to a treehouse where they used to spend time. Very nostalgic, very epic, until John finds a mysterious key that opens a box where you can find a broken violin. What could this mean though? Well, you see, in the final act of the game, we finally get the realization that John killed her sister by pushing her off the stairs. Why? Well, they had an argument. For some reason, he carried her upstairs, then downstairs again, and he didn't call the ambulance or anything because he's indeed quite dumb. For plot convenience, Vaseline was passing through, and as the great friend he is, he helps John to make it seem like Mary killed herself with the classic nose around the neck. Shamefully, she died with one eye open, which traumatizes both of them. Everybody gets sad, and the rest is history. Oof, where do I begin? I can understand the characters acting stupid gameplay-wise. What I can't understand is this mess of an argument. First of all, you're telling me that either 1. The parents didn't call the police, 2. The police didn't search for handprints, and 3, and this one is my favorite one, nobody inspected Mary's body and came to the conclusion that maybe she died by another cause. Okay, while I was finishing the script, I found an argument that defends this, and it might be one of the funniest things I have ever read. This video, at this mark, analyzes the possibility that since 49 out of 50 states do not mandate an autopsy during a suicide, and Sonny's parents may not have wanted to cut up their daughter's body, they could easily have not found. A future patch may clarify these questions, but for now, a mystery remains. Of course, how could I forget about the dysfunctional story patch? Glad we have one of those nowadays. Yeah, sure. John pushed her down the stairs, and she definitely broke at least one bone. Yet nobody in this universe actually thought about that. Is this real? Is this the sad story that everyone was talking about? What the hell is this kindergarten GDS argument? How the hell am I supposed to feel sad when the characters act like this? Talking about characters.
Trash!
I guess you also have Basil, a kid who lives with his grandma, which by the way, dies. For a character that people seem to like a lot, I was expecting a little bit more protagonism. He is just there to make you wonder what really happened that day. You hear that he painted an X on all of Mary's photos, probably to try to forget about what he and John did. Yeah, I know that he and John were really close friends, so they have a strong connection, but that's it. You just have to assume you actually have been with him for a long time, and that you actually like him. Fade to black, now you're fighting against John Omori, the second. It's not really a fight, it's just you trying to survive, until John Omori gets tired of it and kills you. But what Omori didn't know is that John had the power of friendship with him, so after a weirdly long part, and after realizing that it wasn't that hard to play the goddamn violin, John wins by banishing Omori from existence. You wake up in the hospital, go to Basil's room, and John tells everyone that he killed Mary. The end. No consequences? Really? That's like that it ends? The guy literally told everyone he killed her sister, refused to elaborate why, and left. And there it is! Omori! That's the game. You might be annoyed that I don't have anything good to say about the game, but that's not true. I do think the game has some good things. You can fight a tree. Probably like 10% of the Omori fanbase knew about this. I mean, it's still better than Crazy Boss.